Welcome to Muddy's Whitetail 101. We're heading into the first week of November now, and this is a transition time for the deer activity. The bucks have gone from just sort of checking things out and more or less being loners. Now they're moving more and more towards where the does are living. You can see them picking around the edges of these areas this past week, but now it's going to be all in. It's going to be a wholesale quest to find does. So that means that you need to anticipate this, and you need to look for stand locations that puts you between a buck's point A and a point B. And those point A's and point B's are typically areas where the does concentrate. In the mornings, the does are going to be around the areas where they bed. They're going to be coming from the food, heading towards their bedding areas. I mean, that's pretty straightforward stuff. So if you know where does are bedding, that's a pretty good spot to be on morning hunts during the early phases of the rut. So the downwind fringe of a doe bedding area come in from the opposite direction from the primary food source, with the wind blowing from the food to the bed. You're coming into the wind from the opposite direction that the deer are probably going to be located during the time that you're moving. So that's your primary morning strategy. Your primary evening strategy is to find some type of a funnel or an edge to a field or some type of small food plot or a little poor man's plot or something where the deer are feeding in the evenings. The does are still feeding more or less in the open. So that's where the bucks are going. I mean, it's again very straightforward. Where do the does feed? It's probably going to be some of the best areas, the best food sources on the property that you're hunting. Not a lot of rocket science to this either. Can you find a funnel leading into that area is a little bit more of a challenge. And if not, can you hunt the fringe of that feeding area and still be close enough to get a shot with your bow if you're bow hunting, or do you have the ability then to sneak out of there at the end of legal shooting time without bumping all the deer that are feeding there? Those are the two toughest things that you encounter when hunting feeding areas in the evenings, getting out of there and setting up a close range shot. And that's why I like the small plots. We call them staging area food plots, or even the back corner of a larger food plot. The deer tend to come into these spots first, mill around, and then move out into the larger ag fields, making it a lot easier to sneak out at the end of legal shooting time because the deer have already moved through, and it generally sets up better for a close range shot. So those are your morning and evening priorities, the best places where you're going to find does during those two times of the day, and that's where you're going to find the bucks. So now for all day hunting, that's going to really start kicking in this week. There's a lot of guys who say, when should I hunt all day? And I always think somewhere between, somewhere starting about the 3rd or 4th of November for about a week, it starts to make pretty good sense. Prior to that, it can work out for sure. Later than that, yes, it can still work out, but it's pretty tough to make yourself sit in one place for 11 to 12 hours straight unless there's a good chance that bucks are going to be moving during, those midday hours. So that's the time frame when it makes the most sense. So you want to find those transition areas between those types of places. And ideally, what seems to work the best for me is funnels between two doe bedding areas that are not too far from a feeding area. I mean, you're trying to combine all those elements into one stand, but these are really pretty easy spots to hunt because you're not really sitting in the doe bedding area, and you're not really sitting on the feeding area. You're off of those spots in funnels, maybe the end of where the deer go around a ditch, or maybe it's a creek crossing. We got a couple of bluffs here that the deer are bedding on, and in a field behind you where they feed. There's a lot of good stuff going on all in one place, but you're not right sitting on top of any of them. So when it comes time to get in and to get out, it's a lot easier than, like I said, if you're right on top of the deer. So look for those types of spots a little bit more. The type of just primary funnels, not the destination or the end points. You're not sitting on the point A and the point B now, you're finding spots between point A and point B. So those are just some things to keep in mind now during this phase of the rut. The bucks are starting to look for does. Let's just forget about deer sign. Let's forget about just about everything that you've thought about how to kill the buck and say, where are the does? Because that's where the bucks are going to end up. Now I want to talk for just a second about sticks, climbing sticks. And we've got a lot of guys in the office here at Midwest Whitetail that hunt public land. We were putting some sticks together yesterday, and I was talking with Zach about it, and Muddy makes a couple different styles of sticks. There's the outfitter style, which is a little bit less portable, And that's perfect for my farm because I don't move stands much during the season. Put them up, leave it there, through until the end of the season, and then, pull it down and take it back to the shop. Or in some cases, it just stays up for a couple of years. So steps that are a little bit more on the, bigger, heavier, less portable, those are a perfect fit for here. But on the public land, the guys really like the more portable style of sticks that fold up and they nest together real nice and tight and compact, and they can attach them right to their stands when they're carrying in. They may only hunt that spot one time, take the sticks down when they leave and take them back out with them. Or in some cases, they may leave the stand and take the sticks. So you're in a lot different type of a situation there. You can't use screw-in steps on public land. There's a lot of limitations, and the guys are carrying a long ways. So that portable system is just the killing solution when you've got to go deep into the public land, or if you've got a lot of spots that you're trying to hunt on a lot of different pieces of private land and you don't want to leave your setup any one place for very long because you want to keep moving. So that's a quick tip on the sticks and maybe to figure out which style works best for you. Well, I appreciate you joining me this week. The action should be kicking in. November 7th is my favorite day of the rut, so we're going to come back and we're going to compare notes and we're going to see how it went this year, and we'll talk again about this stuff next week. So I'll see you right back here again next week for the next episode of Muddy's Whitetail 101.